Welcome back to another episode of the Dat Fitness Business podcast. This is episode 10, and today we're talking about effectively using AI, artificial intelligence, in your fitness business. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, AI. How's your week been with the new Chat GPT trials going on?
Hey, absolutely, just smashed out all my social media.
Yeah,
just typed it up. I said, can you just create me 6 social media posts? And then that was it. They were all done. Then I said, can you, I did actually put this in my post. Can you generate me a personality as well? And it was like, no, we don't have the capacity for this.
I was messing around with it after all my serious work, and I put in the question, if your girlfriend tells you it's fine and to do what you want, is everything actually fine, and should you do what you want, or should you be afraid? And actually come back with error, something like error generating reply. Like even it can't answer.
Yeah. How much can we break it?
Yeah. That's I mean, sort of jokes aside, it's a nice bit of a kit to use. And have you actually gone into, because obviously ChatGPT is actually their R&D side, isn't it? They've actually got a paid OpenAI have got a paid thing you can implement with all your websites and stuff. Have you actually had a look at that?
No, I've not seen that bit. The only bit I've used is the chat bit.
Yeah.
We've used Jasper AI for ages, which is just another version, isn't it? I think
create all your content.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I still haven't got a personality. So.
Yeah, but if you look at what's interesting is that everyone's raving about the ChatGPT thing, but what's really interesting is if you look at the OpenAI stuff and the potential, all the applications that are there. So say, for example, in the fitness business or the fitness industry, that if you were to say collect a certain amount of data on your clients, such as a scorecard or something like that, you could input that into an AI generating tool, and that would then potentially generate diet plans, generate meal plans, generate a workout plan, and potentially, if you're a gym owner, say which of your PTs would be the best person to work with them. Now that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite cool. So is that the other side of it then?
Yeah. So, and this again is what I haven't seen anybody discussing this. The ChatGPT is the basic way they're researching how good their AI is. Now, obviously, everyone's using it and raving about it, but you know that thing about if the product is free, then you're the product. You know that thing with Facebook and Instagram. It's exactly the same, because ChatGPT, let's just say the online bot thing, that is free to use, but it's free to use while everybody's using it to ask it questions, to get responses, to uprate or downrate the answers. So basically, they're doing their market research on you to improve their paid product.
Yeah. And
before long, well, you can see that product might not be free in the future, which sort of, that'll be a bit of a nail in the coffin for coaches who rely on AI generating content.
That's one of the many reasons to add to that, so to not rely on it. But because those other sites that did similar stuff to this before this was a thing, that did it in a different way, like we were speaking about Answer the Public and Socrates, they do similar stuff, don't they? But a lot of them started off free and then they went into paid as well, or you can only get so many searches.
I think with Ask the Public, it's like 5 searches a day or something, and then after that you've got to pay for it. I mean, that's the thing, is that everyone's saying how good it is, but it's good because it's free. I think in the future people may not be so eager to use it, but so obviously the reason we're talking today is because everyone's talking about it. And is it the next best thing? Is it the thing that's going to stand your content and your business out from everybody else? What do you think, Dan, before I offer my My thoughts on that.
My thoughts are, it's like we spoke about, it's a great tool, and I think it should be used as a tool, but for many different reasons. And probably I would use it for loads more stuff before I even would go, oh, can you write me a social media post, or can you craft me an email? Because while it can do that stuff, I've been looking at it and using it for research purposes, and really digging into a lot of the research. And I think that's quite useful. It's really interesting. If you're struggling at the moment, or your content's not where you want it to be, you're struggling to connect with your audience, and you think that this is going to solve that problem, just think again. This is not the answer to that, because this can't replicate the biggest part of what connects you when you work with humans, because there's an emotional element to that, right? We work in a coaching service-based business. You need to connect with them, and this doesn't have the ability to do that. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, if you look at, let's presume that people who are watching this haven't used it, but you can obviously put in a question that says, give me 25 problems that a person over 30 will face losing weight, and it'll just give you the problems, and you can actually ask it to list topics for social media, that sort of thing, and it'll give you them the quotes in that sort of sentence. The thing for me for that is that, that's helpful in generating content, because we talk about the 100 problems, don't we? Generating 100 problems for your clients so you know how to talk to them and everything else. That's good, but every other coach and PT and online fitness person is also putting in similar requests into that and getting similar results back.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to get is people who rely on that for their copy. All their posts are going to, so it's going to look like, fitness guru, here's what to post this week. And he gives all his, we see that at the moment, don't we?
Yeah.
Fitness guru going, this is what you need to post this week, and here's the copy to post with it. And then all his little minions are posting exactly the same thing. It's just going to be the same, but that guy is going to be using AI to do it. So it's all going to be even worse.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you've used it to do that, and you search like top 10 ways to lose fat if you're over 30 and you're a guy, or whatever it is you put in it, the stuff comes up and you're like, oh my God, wow, this is amazing. And then you read it and you're like, well, that's the stuff, you should know that stuff anyway. Like, you should know that about your audience. You should already have that information. If you're shocked by that, you're doing something completely wrong. Like, give up, just don't do it anymore, because it shouldn't be that much of a shock. The stuff it's telling you back is things that you should already know if you know who you're marketing to.
Exactly. I mean, we talk about having like a PhD in your customer problems, I mean, obviously we both work with coaches, and we work with in the fitness industry, helping people lose weight. If we're saying the top problems for people losing weight, and they're going, top problem is they eat too much. Wow. Okay. How do we stop them eating too much? Give them a calorie deficit.
Move more.
Move more. Eat less, move more. Yeah. Oh, I'd love if that popped up. What's the top advice for calorie deficit? But you're right. It's all stuff that, because this obviously it pulls the information from the internet, and the stuff that's going to be at the top of that bank is going to be stuff that all the people talk about. Yeah. So it's not going to be brain, like was it mind blowing for anybody who is a decent professional.
Yeah,
that's it's good for ideas. There might be one or two there that you haven't. Oh, I forgot about that. I haven't thought about that before. But it's like you said, 20. If you ask for 25, probably 20 of those are going to be ones you already know but worded differently.
Yeah, that was the big thing. I recorded something on it today for the coaches, which was around how to use it, just basically how to go through it, but then how to then use that in conjunction with how do I then plan that as a content structure and strategy to then add your own style to it, your own elements to it, because without that, it's you might as well just copy and paste it. Doesn't make sense. And
also some of the stuff is, and I know this will improve over time, but I put in something about what's a healthy weight, what's a healthy something about losing weight, gaining body fat, whatever, and the response come back was a healthy muscle gain would be something like 1 to 2 kilos of muscle per year. I was like, wow, if I can gain 1 to 2 kilos of muscle per year, I would be really happy with that.
Is it an assisted?
I didn't put in the parameters for assisted, but I did record a quick video showing it, but it basically when it was written, it sounded right, as in, well, how it was written out, it sounded right, but it just wouldn't be, if you wrote that, you'd be like, people would be looking at it going, that's wrong. And just because it sounds right from obviously the AI, that's why they put it out. But it's actually, okay, it said the healthy weight loss or fat loss is 1 to 2 kilos per 1 to 2 pounds per week or something. That's correct. But as well as I do, gaining 1 to 2 kilos of solid muscle in a year.
Yeah.
That's
But that being said, I've seen people quote similar stuff like now. They're just like, I do my 90-day program, pack on 3 pounds of lean muscle. And like, yeah, like it's just not going to happen. Well, yeah, maybe that's where they got it from.
Well, that's it, because it is looking at all the information on the internet, isn't it? So if that is an idea that's been pushed quite hard, then potentially it's going to be popping up high in the search engines.
Yeah, I'm doing it's like a live workshop at the moment. It's across this week, right? And it's they're using AI, they're using ChatGPT, and they're using it with the old marketing advertising adverts that have been over the years tried and tested, millions made in them. And it's really clever to see the use of it. Basically, I think he was the first guy to think about doing this, and he's just quick to act on it. But the way they're using it is not to write the content, that is to be really speedy with creating content, but creating loads of content. So they're using it to create 7, 8, 9 pieces of content, and then they're just changing parts of that content. So they're getting it to come up with a main caption, then they're going, taking part of it, regenerate, and they're doing it. So they created like 7 pieces of content, 7 canvas style things in it, and then putting them into Facebook ads, and then just flooding the place with it. So you're getting everywhere. It's really clever actually, because the AI is not the main part of this. It's how they position the ads to do it. You only see 1 per week, like if you're on the other side of it. I haven't got to that bit yet, but it's really cool to see that they are using it, but then it's not really doing the heavy lifting of it. Yeah,
and obviously we're not saying that AI is rubbish and you shouldn't use it, because absolutely you should. And I think those applications we talked about earlier would save hours, hundreds of pounds in your business if you could get them set up right and linked in right. I mean, I'd love it if I gave clients like let's say a 40 question thing to do when they sign up, and then I just chuck that into my artificial intelligence bot, and it said, right, this person, here's some diets for them, here's some sample workouts, and I could go through and go, yeah, okay, I'll just edit that. So that'll literally take me 10, 15 minutes to do. But I think the parameters on the front end, that's what you need to work on, is getting those things right, so that the AI can then give you the right suggestions.
Yeah, it will get better, won't it? It's one of those things that's going to improve, and it's not going to. I can't see it just disappearing.
No.
But
it's already been here for a little while in terms of like chatbots for your when you go on like a help thing, isn't it? It's like, hi, I'm a chatbot, can I help you?
Yeah. Even stuff like Grammarly is like AI, isn't it? It's all AI generated. So when it's correcting your spelling and giving you suggestions, it's all like from AI, which I think
exactly. So as that develops, obviously we'll get better, and then probably about 50 years we'll be fighting Terminators in the street with our calorie deficits. Our laptop will suddenly come alive and take over our body.
Still be people there with their PDF workout plans going, oh, these were the good old days.
There'd be like an underground cult of people, and they don't have computers. They just have like tablets and abacuses and stuff like that. So the computers can't get in.
Oh dear.
So what we're talking about is one thing we discussed in the preamble was because a lot of people said, oh, AI will mean the death of copywriters, etc., etc. Even the death of personal trainers and fitness coaches, because if you can get an AI that develops that gives you a diet plan, a workout plan, and potentially has the intelligence, if you say, I've eaten too many crisps this month, it'd say, oh, reduce your crisps next month or whatever, have a proper AI chat with you, would there be a death of personal trainers? Now, obviously, things like Canva, for example, and we discussed this in preamble, Canva has not made people better designers and has not reduced the need for graphic designers at all. And I'm sure you see this as well, is that people who use Canva, but they just basically use the templates and just change the words. So their YouTube thumbnail or whatever is just the Canva template with their stuff on.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that it just all looks the same, doesn't it?
Yeah. You've had that for a while now. So you could see who was working with a specific mentor or someone because of the style of their posts. And I still see it now. It's still one of those things. And maybe I'm not seeing it as much, but you lose your identity then, and you lose part of like your personality and your ethos around that is gone. So yeah, there is that element to it. But I don't know. It's only going to kill off. That's probably the wrong terminology. It's only going to get rid of the people who are not doing it now, who aren't doing those things, who aren't instilling emotion and feeling and thoughts and sharing opinions. It's only the people who aren't doing that. Yeah, it might as well just replace you, because that's all it does. But the other people who have got something about them and activity sharing and getting people to think a little bit more, then you might have an issue. So don't worry.
Yeah, and something that one of my friends told me, he's a bit of a geek in computer world and stuff. He was saying that Google are already adjusting their algorithm to look for AI generated like copy, especially on websites. And obviously you can build a website very quickly with an AI generating copywriting tool, can't you? You can put all the right words in there for now. And what he was saying is that if that Google can pick up how it's been constructed, and because it's too perfect, for example, it's like a human wouldn't write it because it's too perfect, and they're actively down reaching, is that the right term?
Down ranking, isn't it?
Down ranking, yeah. The sites that have a lot of AI generated stuff on.
Yeah,
and that's something to think about, especially if you're doing landing pages and all this other stuff.
It will happen because social media have the ability to do that as well, don't they? So they can look at a post and say whether it conforms with the standards, and they'll just do the similar thing. So if they know that it's breaching that, because they can read everything on it, can't they? So yeah, that would be the same thing.
Well, I think if Google's doing it, then Facebook is obviously doing it as well, and obviously Google own YouTube. So a lot of people using the algorithm, the AI to write their YouTube thing and literally copying and pasting it, might see their YouTube rankings drop because of it.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
It's something to consider, especially use it for inspiration, as in to get the ideas and then put your own, like you were saying, put your own slant on it, but don't copy it verbatim, word for word. Because again, it won't have your language, will it? It won't have your personality in.
It's going to happen though. I can see it.
It's going to happen.
Do you know what I was thinking is, do you remember when I can't remember what point this was, but when it was like the online coaching, everyone was like, oh, online coaching is kicking off. So it's the death of personal training. No one's going to want personal training anymore. And everyone got really worried. And then it kind of came full circle and actually didn't impact it whatsoever. And now people probably want more personal training, to be fair. So it's always that thing that when this stuff comes in, that people think, oh my God, it's going to impact me. And I've had some conversations around this, that people are really scared because it's going to start like, one of the conversations was that it could write out, this PT had put into it, can you write me a training program? And he was really scared about what it spat out. I'm like, if you're worried about what training program, the last thing I'm worried about, in my head, I was like, that's freaking awesome. I'm going to do all my training programs.
Everyone gets glute raises.
Yeah, just design me a glute focused training program, cool, done. Like, because for me, all right, the training program is an important part of it, but people come to you, there should be so much more to your coaching than just the training program, right? So I guess it's going to
Well,
highlight these factors.
yeah. And do you know what, exactly what we touched on earlier is that, okay, if someone wants a strength program, okay, there's, deadlift, squat, bench press, those sort of basic exercises or variations of them. However, you can't really package that up any other way. You can't say do a squat one-legged or, well, yeah. Okay, you can. There are people who do that. Get on a Boso ball, do your squat. Yay. You see all this sort of weird stuff going on. But, there's only so many, a basic strength conditioning program. Yeah. There's not much variance, is there? It's not the program, it's the coach coaching the program. And that, I think that's what people are missing, is that human element has still got to be there for anything personal coaching, anything where you've got to have like a gut decision about what to do. I think people are worrying about nothing. It will just make people's jobs a lot easier. Yeah, write me a strength and conditioning program for this lady who's 56, who has an issue with her lower back, blah, 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 whatever. Pour the variables in, bang, there you are, 10 seconds done. Read through it, edit things that maybe aren't, and then you give that to the client. That's fine because you put your touch on it, and then you're coaching them through that.
Yeah,
I don't see the issue with that. We use macro calculators for diets.
Yeah. And that the most effective training programs are the most simple training programs anyway. They always have been. I did just quickly Google it, just put that in there. Can you write me a basic strength program? And it is perform 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps, squats, bench, deadlift, bent over rows, press, lunges. But the thing is, like, you could give that to someone, right? It would work. But what you're missing out there is the same thing as what we're saying about content, same thing about copy, is the iteration and the changes and the feedback that comes with it, because that's just giving you some information. You need to then work on, okay, what do you do with that afterwards? How do you take that information and the feedback from the client and change it to make it press on after? Because I don't know, maybe you could get the information and put it back in there and go, right, now write me another program based on these, and it might do it. I don't know.
It could, because if you and I haven't tried this, so I don't know if you can actually do this yet, but on the chat thing, if you continue the conversation and let's say I've got a client who's whatever, put in the variables, please write me a strength and conditioning program, and it pops it out, and then you put underneath it, okay, she's now increased her bench, but her squat is lacking. How should I change the program? I know you're going to probably try this in a second on Google, but if you keep that conversation going, it remembers what you said before. So you potentially could run it where you've got a whole person's training program on one chat where you put it into. Now, again, it's what we're talking about here is the end product for the customer. Yeah. So if the end product means that they gain loads of strength, lose body fat, improve their confidence, whatever, how does it matter how that's been achieved? If someone's wrote it out on paper, or they've given them an app, or they've however they've done it, or they've used AI to generate it and done more of the coaching side of it, who's right, who's wrong there? I mean,
it doesn't matter, does it? And it comes back to positioning your service as what you deliver in an outcome. And that's what most coaches should be thinking about anyway, because then this wouldn't matter, because you're like, no, I know how I work with people. This is my process, and this is what I help people achieve. So this can help it, but you shouldn't be scared of stuff like this.
No, but I think the people who are scared are the people who are maybe winging it a little bit, or are already lazy with their content. And because they're lazy, they're thinking that this thing is going to stop them delivering this content to people, because everyone's going to have the same. No one's got the advantage anymore. Yeah.
I bet the only thing you would do then is you just blend in even more. Like,
it'd be more busy professionals.
I got because it stores all your things, doesn't it? I've got in here. I asked it, can it help me plan my day? And then it actually was quite cool, to be fair. But it asked me a question back saying what stuff is specific that you need to complete today. So I had to kind of give it a bit of information. It did break it down actually, but then the stuff it's given me is stuff that I go, I should be doing that anyway. And it's like it writes it down and puts it in front of you. Should you do that? Like take breaks, break up your to-do list. Like, oh my
Not
God,
have all the
it's
tabs
amazing.
open on
Yeah, shut all your tabs.
as we speak, I've got about 20 tabs open on my Chrome. It just, and because I'm split screening on the Zoom, they're all like that big, so I don't even know what they are.
Nah, mine's just, it grows every day. I get rid of them, they grow back. It's come back every day. Never ending. No, I think it's good tool.
Yeah, I think the one of the good ways I've used it just recently was like let's say we go back to the let's say 10 problems that I put in something about 10 problems that fitness professionals would face using ChatGPT, and it gave me obviously 10. And what's interesting actually is that when I put in ChatGPT, it actually comes back with, here's the problems it would face using OpenAI, and it's talking about the GPT-3, which is their paid product. So every time I put that in, it's referenced their paid product, as in GPT could be used to generate workout plans, for example, but you'd have to pay for that, as in, you know, the real integration. That's interesting, isn't it? That it's still, even though it's an AI, wow, maybe this was why, it's still sort of like pushing you towards the paid version.
Yeah, it's not as good and open and nice as it sounds, is it?
No.
Always.
But yeah, so I did that, and then say the top one was managing their time, you know, because there's so much stuff they can get from it. And then I took from that and said, okay, how would they manage their time better? And then there was a few more lists. And then I took the top one from that and said, okay, how would they do that? Now that gave me a very specific answer, which I could have generated a decent bit of content for.
Mm.
And I think there's where people are going to have the advantage, or have something useful, is that if they've got an idea in their head, they can use it to get more ideas for more deeper content, but they have to be able to program it with the parameters that they know for their target audience.
Yeah. Because those, like we said earlier, those surface level things that come up, but there's stuff that you should have an idea of anyway. And nothing came up that I was like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. I've never really heard that before. But then I almost thought about it. Actually, sometimes that's really useful, because certain coaches anyway, will need to almost meet the clients like where they're at. So if these are the things that are definitely being said, it brings them back to that level. Because I definitely know we've done this in the past. I've done it in the past, like going to that point where you're talking slightly above, and then it's getting missed because you're not quite meeting them at that point where they are then. So yeah, I think there's probably merit there as well in the simplicity. Sort my floor out.
Yeah, you went off for a second there because you went away from the microphone.
Oh no, I was sorting the floorings come up by my little mat, so I was sorting it out.
So I just put into the ChatGPT, what number should the price end in for a product to sell the most products? And do you know what? 7 isn't there.
No,
it's not there.
Nice.
No, it talks about 9.99 or .50 or something. Not ends in a 7.
What? We're being lied to.
I know. So it's obviously not that good.
No, that's it. All that is, next time I see Guru 7s, I'm going, no, ChatGPT. What does it actually say? Does it say a different number?
It is generally believed that certain numbers are more appealing to customers and can influence their purchasing decisions. For example, prices ending in .99 or .95 are more attractive than prices ending in 0.
Changing all mine to 95.
Yeah, so you're gonna have like 99995 now for your coaching product.
99795.
Okay, I think we've covered it because it's fairly new subject, so we're still learning on it. So that's the stuff we've learned so far. Anything that we've missed?
No, I don't think so. I think, like you say, it's going to evolve lots over time. So the more that evolves and the whatever happens with the next version and things, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's I'm just looking at the old Yeah, when I said about using AI in fitness businesses, is so for example, when I said how many ways, how can I use an AI in a fitness business to research for this product? And it said the first hit was personalized workout plans, the second hit nutritional coaching, third hit virtual nutrition training, and it actually doesn't mention at all in the 8 things it gave me that it could help write content for your fitness business. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the references for stuff that would potentially be paid products.
Yeah, that is interesting, actually.
So, I mean, I think maybe this leads to an interesting point about people who are using this and trusting all the stuff that's coming out. There's still an inherent bias behind who's programmed the AI. That, you know, is that like Matrix styled level for you?
Yeah, because now you got me thinking, like, yeah, who's in charge of this? Who's
the Illuminati?
That's what I mean. Do you know, we're all going, oh, is this like really weird? Oh, it's freaky. It's also like really cool. And then there's some dude somewhere just going, yeah, I've got all of you this information.
Imagine if a keto guy got hold of this. What's the best diet? There's only one diet.
There's only one. Keto. And every answer is keto to anything. Yeah.
But it does raise that point, doesn't it? I mean, obviously it's the business that owns this AI thing. They have a paid business. Could some of the answers that, I mean, obviously we're talking about fitness business, so that's not really world taking over subject, is it? But if you're looking at other stuff which was more sensitive, you know, imagine if someone who was, say, potentially like a COVID denier or something else got hold of this and used it to spread disinformation.
That's it, yeah. Or hackers. Maybe there's some people that get into it.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously a talk for a higher level, but it's not really relevant to sort of, you know, giving people workouts or telling them to make their prices end in a 7. But it's interesting, isn't it? The potential bias that's there and the potential ways it could harm your business by being influenced by something that is potentially not unbiased.
Yeah. Nice, scary stuff.
Yeah. So next week will probably be like in FBI custody because we've raised that issue.
we flagged it up.
I'll have all my Bugattis taken off me. Won't have a Ferrari anymore. Just a box of pizza.
That's it. Oh, man.
Which I didn't recycle. Cool. Yeah, I think that was decent bit of information. Nothing more we can say really, because it is a new and emerging subject, but I think it's one that we're both learning a lot of. But that's the stuff that I've picked up recently, looking at what other people have talked about, looking at what other business leaders are doing. There's definitely use for it, but I think people have got to be wary about the output that's coming in and how much they're relying on that for their business.
Yeah. Don't forget that what businesses, well, hopefully most people watching this are coaches, people who work with other people. So don't forget that, because that's the big part of it.
Yeah, it is. It's what we come back to, isn't it? The people buy people, not they don't buy systems, they don't buy, you know, features. It's the people investing. You've still got to put your message out there. You've still got to put your personality out there for people to want to work with you. And as you said, you asked if the AI could generate a personality, and it wasn't able to, not yet anyway.
Can't wait for that day. I'll be all right.
You can automate everything then. Cool. Okay. Dan, quickly, where can people find you for now?
Yes, danstrongcollective.co.uk.
The microphone didn't pick that up. You might have to say it a bit louder. Being edited.
danstrongcollective.co.uk.
Excellent. And I'm told my website, buildcoaching.co.uk, will be ready, I think, by the time this goes out. So if you want to get me, it's buildcoaching.co.uk. And I'm still at Tom Blackman Nutrition on Instagram, or Tom Build Coaching for the business stuff. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dan. And we'll see you on the next podcast.